The winner is Robert De Niro, narrating.
Robert Anthony De Niro Jr., from gaining 60 pounds in 4 months eating pasta across Italy for Raging Bull and winning 2 professional boxing matches as preparation for the same film, to learning an entire Sicilian dialect in 4 months to win his first Oscar for The Godfather Part 2.
La raggiungo io, qui giù. Lasciati fare a me.
This man has participated in over 120 movies, including 10 directed by only Martin Scorsese, making him the actor who has worked the most times with Scorsese, and he's worth $500 million. He is mainly known for playing gangsters, mob bosses, and complex characters, but he has also acted in comedies like Meet the Parents, where he plays a strict former CIA agent alongside Ben Stiller.
Oh yeah, you can milk anything with nipples.
I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
Okay, could we change the subject?
Or in Analyze This, as a mob boss who begins seeing a therapist after dealing with stress and fear.
Strange. I spent the first half of my life not wanting to walk in his footsteps. Now I only wish I could. Things are a lot more complex.
Many actors study his acting because his characters are considered among the most realistic in film history. So today, we're diving into the career of Robert De Niro and breaking down what actually makes him a genius. The man we are talking about was born in New York in 1943. When he was just 2 years old, his father came out as gay and his parents divorced. Young Bobby grew up in Little Italy, raised by his mother, who worked long hours as a typesetter to keep food on the table. It was there when he got the nickname Bobby Milk, because of how pale he was. During the divorce, he stayed with his grandparents, who secretly had him baptized as a Catholic, against his parents' wishes. At 10 years old, he played the Cowardly Lion in a school production of The Wizard of Oz. That small role gave him a taste of the stage, and by 16, he had already dropped out of high school to study acting. Under Stella Adler and Lee Strasberg at the Actors Studio, where he learned method acting based on the Stanislavski system, which focuses on emotional authenticity and living as the character. In 1972, Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese met for the first time, through a mutual friend at a Christmas party. That friend was Brian De Palma, a film director who later became famous for Scarface. At the time, De Niro was acting in early films like Greetings, Hi Mom, and Bang the Drum Slowly, while Scorsese was a young filmmaker in New York. De Palma brought them together, and De Niro was later cast in Mean Streets, which became his first movie with Scorsese.
Come on, come on, come on, fuck face!
When Mean Streets was being edited, Martin Scorsese showed parts of the movie to Francis Coppola, the director of The Godfather. Coppola was very impressed by Robert De Niro. Before this, De Niro had auditioned for The Godfather. He was considered for the roles of Sonny Corleone and Paulie Gatto, but he did not get the parts. Even so, Coppola remembered him.
Yeah, that was, Marty was friends with Francis Coppola, and I knew Francis a little bit, and I think Marty had, we never really spoke about this, but I don't remember, but I think Marty showed him the movie was had not come out yet, and Marty was editing, and he showed him some Mean Streets, and Francis said he wanted me to go to San Francisco, where he was living, to work with him for Godfather 2, and then one day he called me, he said, don't bother, you have the part, and so that was great.
So
I was happy.
Playing young Vito Corleone after Marlon Brando was a hard task. De Niro spoke almost entirely in Sicilian. Native speakers said it was remarkably authentic. He didn't imitate Brando's voice or mannerisms. He plays Vito as quiet, cautious, and observant. He's an immigrant learning how America works. He watches everything. The film is structured to show exactly this contrast. Every time you see young Vito building the family with love, you cut to Michael tearing it apart with fear.
You're nothing to me now. You're not a brother. You're not a friend. I don't want to know you or what you do. I don't want to see you at the hotels. I don't want you near my house.
For this movie, De Niro won his first Oscar at age 31 for Best Supporting Actor, and the movie ended up winning 6 Oscars, including Best Picture, and earning $93 million worldwide. For Taxi Driver, De Niro got an actual taxi license and drove 12-hour night shifts around New York, picking up real passengers for months. He took firearm training and listened to recordings of Arthur Bremer's diary, the man who tried to assassinate George Wallace in 1972. He was literally becoming Travis Bickle. He lost 35 pounds to look thin and lonely, matching the life of Vietnam vet. The movie shows a dark and confusing New York, filled with violence and isolation, and De Niro's performance makes the audience feel trapped inside Travis' unstable mind, not knowing if he is a hero or a danger. The iconic
Talking to me?
was completely improvised. The script just said Travis talks to himself in the mirror, and De Niro created one of cinema's most quoted moments. The inspiration came from Marlon Brando's mirror work in Reflections in a Golden Eye, where Brando has this habit of talking to himself in mirrors in earlier films. The movie became one of the most important films of the 70s. It won the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival, received several Oscar nominations, including Best Picture and Best Actor. So basically after Taxi Driver, De Niro was offered every script in Hollywood. But he stopped on one specifically. The Deer Hunter. A 3-hour Vietnam War movie, De Niro went all in, living with real steelworkers to make his character feel real. He did his own stunts. There is a scene where he falls 30 feet into a river. They shot it 15 times over 2 days. The movie shows how war destroys people inside. Michael's one-shot hunting coat is broken after Vietnam, and you can see it without words when he can't kill a deer anymore. The final cut was 3 hours long and way over budget. The studios were nervous, but when it premiered, critics went absolutely wild. De Niro got his first $1 million paycheck for this film. Once Taxi Driver and The Deer Hunter were released, De Niro became interested in the story of Jake LaMotta, a real-life boxer. He read LaMotta's autobiography and strongly believed it should be made into a movie. And that's how Raging Bull was born.
If you beat Sugar Ray, you'll get a shot at the title. You feel that way?
There's no one else around who wants to fight me. They're all afraid.
You've done a lot of bad things, Joey. Maybe it's coming back to me.
At first, Martin Scorsese didn't want to direct Raging Bull. He was personally struggling with a serious drug addiction, especially cocaine, and didn't care about some boxing films. But Robert De Niro kept pushing him, and in the end Scorsese agreed, and they decided they would make the movie together. Later, Scorsese publicly thanked De Niro, saying that making Raging Bull helped save his life. When the movie was being made, De Niro began training with the real Jake LaMotta for a year, doing over 1,000 rounds of actual boxing sparring. He learned proper technique, footwork, defense, combinations, everything. He got so good that LaMotta scheduled 3 professional boxing matches for him, and De Niro won 2 of them. A trained actor beat professional boxers in the ring. He gained 20 pounds of pure muscle, doing 600 crunches every single day to play young LaMotta at his peak. And during filming, he accidentally broke a rib of Joe Pesci in a sparring scene. Then for the older version of LaMotta, he gained 60 pounds in 4 months. This was a world record for actor weight gain. He traveled to Europe with Scorsese, eating 3 full meals for breakfast, lunch and dinner, basically a professional eating tour. At 215 pounds, he had breathing difficulties and they had to rush the final scenes because his health was getting worse. De Niro called it the toughest role he ever prepared for, but the hard work paid off. The movie reached huge success and he won his second Oscar.
I forgot my lines, so the director wrote them down for me. I just want to...
Right? Yeah!
The King of Comedy. Another masterpiece where Rupert Pumpkin is a lonely man who wants to be famous and becomes obsessed with a TV host, Jerry Langford, slowly turning into a stalker to get attention and success. The film is really good. Robert De Niro plays the role perfectly. He tracked down his own autograph hunters and followed them around studying their psychology. He met with an actual stalker to understand the mindset, and to create real tension with the co-star Jerry Lewis, he reportedly used harsh language including anti-Semitic slurs right before takes to get genuine reactions with anger and disgust. It's controversial, but again it worked, and make the movie performed exceptionally well. From 1990 to 1995, Robert De Niro went on an absolutely insane run, releasing 8 movies in just 5 years. 5 of them became absolute classics: Casino, Cape Fear, Heat, Awakenings, and of course, Goodfellas, Scorsese's mob epic that became one of the most influential gangster films ever made. De Niro plays Jimmy Conway, the veteran gangster who is calm, quiet and dangerous. The production was interesting because Scorsese gave the actors tons of freedom to improvise. De Niro famously insisted the prop department replace all fake money with real cash because he thought it looked more authentic on camera. He also spoke frequently with the real Henry Hill, learning how the real Jimmy Burke laughed, smoked cigarettes, drank alcohol, just to get the mannerisms perfect. And during filming, De Niro would stay in character between takes also, watching everyone, calculating, just like Jimmy would. The famous dinner scene where Pesci does the funny how, De Niro is just in the background watching, smiling slightly, and that wasn't scripted. He just knew how to react.
Oh, I don't know. You said it. How do I know? You said I'm funny. How the f*** am I funny? What the f*** is so funny about me? Tell me. Tell me what's funny.
Get the fuck out of here, Tommy.
I almost had him.
And for the rest of his movies, De Niro kept working. The Irishman in 2019 reunited him with Scorsese, Al Pacino and Pesci for one last masterpiece. This was the movie everyone thought would never get made. De Niro and Scorsese tried to make this film for over a decade, but no studio would fund it because the budget kept growing and they wanted to use this insane de-aging technology that had never been done at this scale, and Hollywood thought it was too risky.
The first thing that Dennis Muren said to me is, "This is too risky, don't do it."
Right.
I said, well, this is the way you felt when you did Jurassic Park. And he just went like, okay, fine, you got me there.
But then Netflix came and gave them $159 million to make the movie, and that became the most Netflix has ever spent on a single film production at the time. It was absolutely massive. They shot for 108 days across 117 locations. De Niro plays Frank Sheeran, and the film spans 5 decades from the 50s to the 2000s, so they used this revolutionary de-aging CGI called industrial light and magic ILM to make De Niro, Pacino and Pesci look younger instead of using makeup or different actors.
What the fuck is this? It's empty. I know it is. I know it is.
De Niro said it was the weirdest acting experience of his career because he couldn't have the usual prosthetics or makeup. He had to just act and trust the technology would work. But he still prepared like it was the 80s. He studied the real Frank Sheeran, read I Heard You Paint Houses, the book on which the movie is based on, multiple times, talked to people who knew Sheeran to understand this quite methodical killer who claimed he killed Jimmy Hoffa. The character is different from his other mobsters. Sheeran is cold, emotionless, almost dead inside. And De Niro plays him with this scary emptiness, like a man who's killed so many people he doesn't feel anything anymore. And the physicality changes throughout the film. Young Frank moves with confidence. Old Frank is slow, hunched and broken. And apparently, De Niro would adjust his posture, his walk, his energy for each time period, even though the CGI was handling his face. Scorsese said De Niro treated every era of Frank's life as a completely different character. The reunion with Pacino and Pesci was huge. This was the first time all three worked together since 1995, and the chemistry was insane. The scene where Frank shoots Hoffa, played by Pacino, is so quiet, just two old friends and a gun.
Let's get out of here, Frank. Come on.
It became one of the most watched Netflix films at the time. About 26.4 million accounts watched most of the movie in its first month. At 82 years old, Robert De Niro is still working. In 2025, he dropped Zero Day, a Netflix limited series thriller where he plays an ex-president investigating a cyber attack that killed over 3,000 Americans. It's 6 episodes and it's worth watching. He's currently working on Meet the Fockers 4 or Focker in Law, plus The Whisper Man, and he's got like 3 other projects in development.